Okay, so the trendy thing to do now in Hollywood is to make a sequel to an old movie and just name it the same as the original movie. Though I guess you could technically argue that the original 1974 film is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They got rid of the, but it's the same title. So this is a direct sequel to 1974. They ignore absolutely everything that came after this. Every sequel, 2, 3, 4, though we won't speak of 4, A New Beginning, with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. That was just, whoo, that's the Jason X of the, excuse me, of the Leatherface series. It's that fucking bad. They even ignored the sequel they did in 2000 something with Alexandra Daddario, Texas Chainsaw 3D, I believe it was called, if I remember correctly. And in that, a distant relative found Leatherface after the massacre by the Sheriff's Department, Texas Rangers of the Sawyer family after the events of Texas Chainsaw 1, which, again, just completely ignores all the other sequels. And she harbors Leatherface, and then he escapes, because why not? So they kind of take that concept here in the 2022 movie, but instead of it being like a distant relative in, I want to say it was New Orleans. I've only really watched that movie once. It's in Texas, and Leatherface is in an orphanage being taken care of by some old lady. And of course, all these social media influencers show up, and they want to sell the town, they want to make money, and everything's politically correct, and everything is fucking preachy as hell, and including guns. But then, of course, the people preaching about guns end up using guns because they have to survive Leatherface. And Leatherface goes on a complete rampage because, you know, it's what's got to happen. He's Leatherface. He's got to go on a complete rampage to really set the movie into motion. And we do get some really cool kills, like the first kill, not the first death, the first kill, Leatherface without the mask, and we briefly do see his face without the mask, which I was not really a fan of. He breaks a cop's wrist and then stabs the fucking guy in the neck with the bones sticking out of the wrist. That was actually kind of cool. But other than that, and the bus massacre, which is not a spoiler because they tease it in the trailer, that's really all this movie has. I mean, yes, Sally returns to the series, though not the original actress because she passed away. She's this badass Texas Ranger who has this face-off with Leatherface, and it amounts to really absolutely nothing, and it is just, it's like, it was just a complete letdown. Like, they teased it from the beginning of the movie, and when she showed up, it was like, ooh, major battle between Leatherface and Sally, the first victim, the survivor versus the killer, and it amounted to nothing. And also this movie, not very good with continuity, because at one point we actually watch the chainsaw run out of gas. And guess what? Without gas, a chainsaw is not going to start. But then, it starts, like, immediately. Also, a character got, like, a piece of metal stuck right in their fucking thigh, like, right through it. And then they're walking perfectly fine minutes later. No limp, nothing. I'm kind of glad that character got her head chopped off. So the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it adds absolutely nothing to the series, despite being a direct sequel to 1974. And, you know, it's hard to top a movie that is a masterpiece right off the bat. It's even tough to follow a masterpiece right off the bat. The original, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 74, is a horror masterpiece. But because horror movies are notoriously cheap to make, Hollywood just churns them out like nothing so they can make a little bit of money. All this movie really had going for it was that it was a direct sequel and that Sally was going to show up, and it added nothing to the lore of Leatherface. I'd say probably the best parts of this movie is, you know, the first wrist bone death The bus massacre, which was just really well done and was blood-soaked insanity, is the best way I can describe it. And also when he gets his leather face, you know, he rips off somebody's face and he gets his mask for the movie, that was a neat little sequence. The acting is okay. The effects are actually quite amazing. But truth be told, I'm going to give Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 a C. You know, I'm not going to fail it because it wasn't horrible. It was definitely better than most of the Texas Chainsaw sequels. And a lot of the kills were actually really cool and well done, especially the bus massacre. I can't mention that enough. It's just that, again, it adds absolutely nothing to the legend of Leatherface. But hey, after credits scene, he went home like he went to the original house, so that's something. So there's going to be more sequels. God damn it.
Did you enjoy the review? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get notified when more reviews go live. Feel free to leave a comment to discuss your thoughts on the movie or show, and I will see you next time.